Hello and welcome to Historical Fashion with me, Mrs. Moon. Today we're going to look at the 1940s, which was a huge time for change in fashion, especially in women and menswear. So today I've got a selection of outfits to look at. We're going to look at women's wear first. These are just things I've pulled together from the wardrobe upstairs. Obviously I've gone for a red, white and blue theme. To be honest, that was an entire coincidence, so don't feel like you have to.
Women's fashion in the 1940s was impacted by the war. Material rationing meant that dresses had to be shorter, but they were still at least knee length. Fashions were slightly more masculine, influenced by the uniforms of the men who were going to war. However, after the war and into the later 1940s, women's fashion became more bright to reflect the happiness at the war ending. The 1940s was a great time for change in women's fashion. Up until the 1940s, women had not worn trousers. However, because women were working in factories because the men were away at war, they needed safe clothing that wouldn't snag in the machinery. At first, women just wore men's pants. Later, manufacturers made pants for women, although they still looked very masculine. They were high-waisted, button or zippered down the side and had full legs with wide cuffs at the bottom. Women wore them at work, but they soon became part of their casual wardrobe. It didn't take long before women were wearing pants in public, although it would take many more decades before pants were allowed at school or professional jobs. During the war, women were asked to do what were considered traditionally to be men's jobs, such as working in factories or working the land. This meant that they wore overalls, traditionally made out of denim, which up until this point had been a material specifically for men and boys. After the war had finished, women allowed these overalls into their fashion remit. You and I would know them as jumpsuits, playsuits or dungarees.
Okay, so let's look at a few women's wear options first. So I've got this outfit which might have been worn sort of in the home. So we've got some trousers. As we learned before, it was more common for women to wear trousers. We've still got quite a feminine blouse with that, as you can see. So they would definitely be worn high-waisted with the blouse tucked in. And then we've got a bit of a smarter look coming up next. So we've got this dress here, which is obviously below the knee, as we mentioned before. And I've teamed that up with this scarf, which could obviously be worn around the neck or around the head in a bit of a headband style. Actually I've got two outfits left. So penultimately I've gone for this look, which is a quintessentially 1940s look that everybody would recognise from the 1940s. And this is the sort of look of the land girls. So I've picked out some dungarees. Stripy top there, so you can see how they work together, and then I've accessorised with a scarf again, which again could be worn around the neck, or if you were going for a land girl kind of look, it would definitely be worn as a headband. And finally, we mentioned jumpsuits before, which obviously evolved from the overalls that women were wearing to do men's jobs. By complete coincidence, I've got this red, white and blue one. So that just kind of speaks for itself, really. So there's 4 options there that you could go for VE Day.
In the early 1940s, men's suits were very plain in style due to the shortage of materials during the war. They were kept smart in order to show respect for those who were away fighting. Colours were usually in muted tones such as greys, blacks and browns. However, after the war was over, suits became more adventurous as material became more available. Suits became double-breasted and wide-leg trousers became high fashion for men. There was also a greater availability of colours. For a more casual look, men of the 1940s often chose to wear knitted tank tops. They would often wear these with a shirt underneath. Now we're going to look at men's hairstyles of the 1940s. Men's hairstyles were heavily influenced by military life, meaning they were short and sleek, and usually had a side parting.
Now, obviously, menswear is a little more limited because it always is. Now, if you look over here, it appears that I only have 2 outfits, but I'm going to show you how you could change that into 3 outfits. So, by complete coincidence again, I have this lovely khaki shirt, which you could wear as a sort of coming home from war outfit, just with some grey trousers. And again, we're all about the accessories. I've got a black tie here, black tie you could be wearing with that, and some braces here as well. So that's look number 1. Look number 2, we've got a suit here, so we've got the trousers, the waistcoat and the jacket. I've gone for kind of the navy blue colour because if you remember, a lot of the colours in the 1940s of suits weren't very adventurous. They just kind of had to do the best they could with what they had. And obviously you'd be wearing that with a shirt.